right, this is the Chapter 5 Periodic Inventory Exercise Review. Okay, this is where we're going to go ahead and test out all, there's a total of 12 questions, so that's 6 inventory worksheets that we're going to be working on. So that means we're going to be looking at LIFO, FIFO, and weighted average, okay? And here we're also going to be introducing another segment, part of Chapter 5, which is introducing to see what happens to the inventory worksheet when we have purchase returns and allowances, okay? So question number 1 right here, it says right here that you're going to have the inventory method is periodic and it is FIFO, okay? Assume that all purchases are made on an account and round to the nearest penny, okay? So here's your scenario, all right? What I want you to do for question 2 is I want you to practice journalizing your transactions, right? Practice doing the purchase journals, but also practice doing what happens when we have a purchase returns. How do I journalize it then? Okay? So let's go ahead and practice that for question number 1 and question number 2, okay? So first thing that we have here is that June 5th, right? We purchased 1,000 toys at $1 each with a freight costing $50, okay? So first, I'm going to go ahead and journalize this transaction so we know what we're doing, okay? So in this case, right, how do we journalize a purchase for periodic inventory? We will be utilizing purchase expense. We will recognize a freight expense. And because we're purchasing it on an account, right, we will be using the accounts payable account. Okay? So we purchase, right? In this case, my description, I can write here, say that I purchased 1,000 toys at $1 each. Okay? So in this case, right, that's exactly what I did. I purchased 1,000 toys at $1 each, which gives you $1,000. And I also purchased, my freight expense was $50. So in this case, my grand total accounts payable is going to be $1,050. Okay? All right, because we purchased 1,000 toys at $1 each with a freight of $50. Okay? So let's plug it into my inventory worksheet. It is June 5th. We purchased 1,000 units at $1 each with a freight of $50. Okay. So what is my total purchase price here? Okay. The total purchase price here is going to be my 1,000 times $1, gives me 1,000. Plus 50, so my total cost is going to be my purchase price plus my freight expense will give me a total of $10.50. Now, because I'm using FIFO, because I'm using FIFO here, I need to keep my batches of inventory separate, right? Because I need to sell my batches according to when I purchase them, right? So I have to separate so I know how much to calculate my total cost of goods sold based on the batches of inventory. So in this case, I need to solve for my cost per item, which is going to be your total cost of that $10.50 divided by your total quantity of 1,000, and I get $1.05. Okay? That's my first batch of inventory. Okay? So then let's see what happened next. On June 7, we end up returning 200 of those broken toys for a full refund. Okay? So in this case, how am I going to journalize a return for a full refund back to the vendor. Okay? So it's June 7. Since we didn't pay the vendor yet, right? We paid using an accounts payable. That means we never paid them. We received a bill, we owe them money, and received the items. So in this case, we never paid money. So we cannot get a refund in cash. However, rule of thumb here is if you do end up getting a refund, right? What usually happens is you usually apply it to the invoice itself. So that means it's going to reduce the amount that you owe, right? The vendor's going to issue you a new invoice with the new correct amount. So in this case, that's exactly what I have to do. I have to end up adjusting and reducing my liabilities because I'm getting a refund. I don't owe this much amount anymore. Okay? And I'm going to be using the purchase returns and allowances, right? I have to use the contra account because if you look at this, right, my original purchase, right, was a debit, or in this case, yes, because it was an expense account, right? A contra account, which is the purchase returns and allowances, is going to credit because it's a contra account. It's going to reduce or decrease the purchase expense, and it's going to credit this account. Okay? And I'm going to make a note here that I return 200 toys, broken toys at $1 each, okay, for a full refund. Okay, so that means how much was it? It's $1 each, right? Because in this case, I only have one batch of inventory, right? I purchased them for $1 each. Now, in this case, right, if I take a look at my inventory worksheet, I also have, in this case, the cost says right here that it's $1.05. In this case, right, when we are dealing with a refund, we cannot return freight or shipping costs because it's a separate cost to it's a separate cost to the business, right? So in this case, right, it's not going to be included in the price of the refund, right? You can't return or get a refund on shipping, okay? So in this case, I actually purchased these items at $1 each. So that's something that I need to take and make a note is that I can only get the purchase price refunded, okay? So that means 200 items at $1 each is going to give me a total of $200. Okay. Now, how is this going to, or where am I going to be putting this into my inventory worksheet? In this case, right, this is where I get to finally use the last column here, the bottom right corner. This table right here is meant for my purchase returns, allowances, and my discounts. Okay? So in this case, I returned 200 units. Now, because I can only return the price, I only have one batch of inventory, so this one is at $1 each. Okay? So that's going to give me a refund for $200. Now, this is where you need to pay really close attention because I now need to make sure that I know how many items I actually have available. Because right now, it says that I purchased 1,000 units, but I end up returning 200 of them. So in reality, how many actual items do I actually have? I have 800, right? So I need to create a table right here in my workspace here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a table for goods available. Okay? And this is going to allow me to take my 1,000 items, right? And because I returned 200, I should have $800 left, right? Now, what about my new total cost? Well, in this case, I originally was charged $10.50 and I got a refund for $200. So that means I should have now a grand total of $850. Now, this is where did this number come from? Well, in this case, I just took it from my total cost and I minus my refund, right? You can also be able to solve this number by also thinking about it this way, because you're supposed to refund from your purchase price. So in this case, when I originally had my 1,000 items, now that I have 800, if 800 times $1 is going to give me a new purchase price of 800, or obviously I'm going to reduce it. So in this case, 1,000 minus 200 is going to give you 800, plus the 50 of freight is going to give you $850. So in this case, the easiest way to do it is just take the total cost minus the refund, and you should get $850. Now, I have a new quantity and a new total cost. I need to now figure out my new cost per item, because I now am dealing with less total cost and I'm dealing with a less quantity, right? So in this case, I'm going to take my $850 and I'm going to divide it by my 800 to give me $1.06. But again, don't forget, this can be extended, right? So this is $1.625. Okay? So why is that, right? Because I know it's going to be $1, right? But now because I have my freight of $50 now needs to be spread across 800 opposed to 1,000. So in this case, the cost is going to increase just because $50 for lesser items is going to spread across definitely more to each item. Okay, so right now it's currently at $1.62 or 62. Sorry, $1.0625 of a penny right here. Okay, now for this class, for this example, I'm going to be using colors so you guys can kind of follow along to where my inventory is going, especially when you're dealing with returns and allowances. So I'm going to choose red for now. Okay, so this is my first batch of inventory that I purchased, right? And this right here, this is how I'm going to keep track of it, right? Because, in this case, right, this 200 items is linked to this first batch of inventory, right? I'm obviously going to be making more batches of inventory, so instead of getting confused, right, I'm going to color code them for now so we can kind of understand how they're going to be moving from one to another, right? So here's my purchase. I just returned 200, so therefore my red batch of inventory is now no longer 1,000. It is at 800 units at $850. Okay. So now that I journalized my purchase and my returns, let's go ahead and continue on with the next part of the question. So in this case, June 10, I end up purchasing 850 units at $1.25 with a freight of $45. So in this case, right, this is where I can also allow you to choose, do you want to plug it into the inventory worksheet and then journalize it? That's also something that you can do as well. But rule of thumb is, remember, this is only one segment in a business, right? Making purchases. So when we come across the class project, we're going to be journalizing more than just inventory. We're going to be journalizing sales. We're going to be doing a lot of journalizing. So in this case, rule of thumb is you should journalize first and then deal with the inventory worksheet next. But in this case, because for this example here, if you do journalize it, or if in this case you plug it into your inventory worksheet, it will save you, having to recalculate it again twice separately. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So June 10, I purchased 850 units at $1.25 with a freight of $45. So It is June 10. We purchased 850 units at $1.25 with a freight of 45. So in this case, my purchase price here is going to give me $1,062.50 plus $45 of freight. It's going to give me a grand total of $1,107.50. And again, we need to spread this total cost evenly amongst through the 850 units. So I get $1.30 per item. Okay. We can also expand that because that could be true or that could not be true. So in this case, it's actually $1.3294. So in this case, it's actually not even out at $1.30. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and choose this to be yellow. Okay. Now, in this case, right, now that I finished the worksheet, what often happens is you end up moving on forth and you forget to journalize. So that's why usually when we do this, we journalize first so that we can confirm that we have that transaction into our journal. So then we can go ahead and plug our numbers into the worksheet so then everything else is okay. Right? So question 2 here, right? We need to record that we received another batch of inventory, that we purchased it on June 10, right? In this case, I end up purchasing a total of 850 toys, okay, at $1.25 each. So again, 850 at $1.25 give you 1062.50 plus $45 of freight gave you your grand total of $1107.50. Okay. So then let's see what happened next. On June 12th, you end up returning 50 toys. They were the wrong color and you were willing to accept a 20% discount. So in this case, right, which batch of inventory is this one referring to? Okay. In this case, right, when we are looking at a refund or a return, usually rule of thumb here is that it's going to be for the one that you just recently purchased. Why? The best rule of thumb, especially when you are in charge of inventory, is once you receive the inventory, you need to do one thing and one thing only. You need to open up those boxes and check to make sure that you received every single item. Okay? That's number one. So in this case, on June 10th, you should have opened that box to make sure that you counted that you had a total of 850, which is what you purchased, right? Then you could go ahead and test to see if they work or see if they're broken, okay? But the rule of thumb is that usually when you have a return, it usually stems out from the very previous batch that you just recently purchased. So in this case, this return is in regards to the purchase that I made on June 10th, okay? So 50 of them were actually the wrong color. Now, because they were the wrong color, right, the vendor convinced you to keep it because they're the wrong color, right, you can still sell them at your store. And they gave you a 20% discount in ways to reprimand for their mistakes, right? To say, I'm sorry, we sent you the wrong item. So to keep you coming back, right, we decide to give you a 20% discount. Now, this is going to be considered an allowance, right? But here's the rule here. You can only discount for the wrong items, okay? This 20% discount isn't going to be applied for the entire batch of inventory that you purchased, right? Because at the end of the day, those 800 that you ordered were correct. they're not going to give you a discount on the correct order because that's what you purchased, right? They're only going to give you a credit for the 50 toys that were the wrong color. So in this case, right, we're going to copy the exact accounts from above here because it's the same thing, right? We didn't pay for our batches of inventory here, right? So June 12th, accounts payable, and it's purchase returns and allowances, right? And I'm going to put allowance for 50 toys, wrong color, 20% discount, right? So again, right, we're only going to be discounting the amount that we can receive a discount for. Now, in this case, how do I actually get this 20% discount? Well, first off, we need to figure out how much it's going to cost me at the end of the day, or how much money am I going to get a full refund for. So if I were to, let's say, just return all 50 items, right? 50 at $1.25 each. Okay, so I didn't write that in there, so 50 toys, right, at $1.25 each. They were the wrong color, and I got a 20% discount. So in this case, right, I got $62.50 if I were to give a full refund on those 50 toys at $1.25. But I'm not returning all of them. I'm only going to be getting a discount off of this amount here. So in this case, I need to calculate what 20% of this $62.50. So I can go ahead and put my 20% in there, and I should get a refund for $12.50. Okay? So I'm going to plug that into my inventory worksheet here, right? So did I return the product? No, I did not. However, it still cost me $1.25. So I'm going to do the formula once again. I returned 50 of those items at $1.25, but I end up getting a discount on it for 20%. So it gives me $12.50. And this was from the yellow batch of inventory. Okay? So now I need to update my inventory because now, even though I still have my $8.50 and I did not return anything, I still have $8.50 left on hand. However, my cost is different, right? I didn't end up paying $11.0750 because I end up getting a discount of $12.50 for 50 of those items, right? So therefore, I should get a grand total of $10.95 even, right? So once again, now I need to spread the cost of $10.95 across the $8.50 to get my cost per item, okay? So in this case, I get a grand total of $1.2882.351, okay? And this is my yellow batch of inventory, okay? Okay, so let's see what is next. Then on June 20th, we end up purchasing 500 toys at $1.50 with a freight of $25. So 500 toys, $1.50, and a freight of $25. Okay, so inventory worksheet. It is June 20th. We purchased 500 units at $1.50 with a freight of $25. So in this case, my purchase price here is going to be $7.50 plus 25 is going to give me $7.75. Right? Cost per item is going to be $1.55. And I am going to color code this at not yellow. I want them to be green. Okay, so we want this to be green so we can kind of slightly tell the difference here. Okay. Okay. So that's that batch there. And of course, I have to remember to journalize that I made a purchase. Okay. On June 20th, I purchased 500 toys, right, at $1.50 each. Okay. So again, 500 times 150 plus $25 freight will give you that 775. Okay. So then the day after, on June 21st, you end up returning 20 of defective toys for a full refund. So in this case, we actually are getting a full refund here. So let's see. We are returning 20 of them, okay, at a unit cost of $150. So that's going to give you a total of $30 refund. Okay. And of course, I need to update my inventory because now I no longer have 500 units now, right? I end up returning 20 of them. So I should be left with 480, okay? And of course, I'm going to get a new total cost because I didn't pay $775, right? I got $30 refund. So therefore, I'm at $745. So again, new cost, new quantity. So I need to solve for my new cost per item, okay? Which is going to be $1,55208. This is my green batch of inventory. And my new green batch of inventory. So again, I need to journalize that I end up getting a $30 refund. On June 21st, right, I return 20 toys at $1.50, okay, for full refund. Okay. So that should give me, right, 20 times $1.50 should give me $30. Okay. Last purchase of June here was a purchase of 600 toys at $1.75 with a freight of 30. Okay, so last purchase was on June 25th for 600 units at $1.75 with a freight of 30. Okay. So purchase price here is going to be $10.50. Okay, $10.50 plus 30 is going to give you $10.80, which if I take $10.80 and divide it evenly amongst 600 units, it should be costing me $1.80. Okay, and of course I'm going to choose blue to stand out. Okay, so there you go. I got blue batch of inventory. Okay. Okay. Blue batch of inventory. Okay. And I need to update my journal here saying I made another purchase on June 25th. Okay. And what did I do? I purchased 600 toys at $1.75 each. So 600 at $1.75 with a freight of 30 gave me a total of 1080. Okay. So let's see what happened here. Then last day of the month, right? You end your accounting period. So on June 30th, you have a total of 1,250 toys on hand. So in this case, right, that means I can carry my purchase made on June 25th because there was no problems with it. I didn't make any returns or anything to it, so that means I can go ahead and safely bring that purchase down to my goods available. And I also have a total of $12.50 left on hand. Okay. So let me go ahead and plug that in first, my ending balance of $12.50. Okay. And I'm also going to carry down my blue batch of inventory because this is part of my goods available that I can sell. Right? And this is blue. Okay. So now I need to do the following because I reached the end of my accounting period. I need to solve for my total purchases. Okay. So in this case, my total purchases that I've made was a grand total of 2,950 units at a total purchase price of $3,862.50. My freight was a total of 150, giving me a grand total cost of $4,012.50. Okay. I also should be calculating my total goods available, right? I got my grand total goods available to be 800 plus 850 plus 8 plus 480 plus 600 gives me a grand total of 27 and 30 units at a total grand cost of $3,770. Okay. I also need to tally up my total returns and allowances. So in this case, how many units of inventory did I return? 220 units at a total refund for $242.50. Okay? So now that I've finished summing up all my totals, I can now go ahead and proceed to complete my inventory worksheet right here, bottom left. Right, I made a purchase of inventory for 2,950 units at a grand total of the $3,862.50. But I end up returning 220 units at a grand total of $242.50. So again, because these decrease your purchases, right, you're going to subtract these values out because a return obviously reduces what you purchased. So then I should have a total of 2,730 units remaining at a grand total cost of $3,620 even. Okay? We know freight doesn't add to quantity, but it does add to cost. So I'm going to add my 150. Okay, so that should give you a remaining balance of 2,730 units at a grand total cost of $3,770. Right? Which, take a look at that. It matches my goods available. Why? It's because, right, I don't have beginning inventory. And the rule here is that my net purchases with no beginning inventory will become my total goods available. Okay? So this table down here is the table I'm going to be using to calculate my total cost of goods sold. Okay? So in this case, how many items did I sell? Well, if I started out with 2,730 and I have 1,250 left remaining, my assumption is I must have sold 1480 units. Okay? 1,480 units. Okay? So now what do I need to do next? I need to now create my table to calculate my total cost of goods sold. Okay. All right, so right here is going to be my equal sum here. So I have my running balance, so I know how many units to keep on selling. Okay, and it's also going to calculate my totals for me, so I know how many units I am going to be, or how much my total cost is going to be for selling those number of units. So using the rules of FIFO, right? Which batch of inventory am I going to sell out first? In this case, right, my first purchase that I made was on June 5th for that 800 units, right? Because I end up returning 200. So that means I'm going to get rid of my first 800 units right here, okay? Which, since I'm getting rid of all 800, it's going to cost me $850. So what I can do here is I shouldn't delete it because I self-referenced a lot of this stuff. So I'm just going to cross it out to let me know that I no longer have this red batch of inventory. Okay? And I'm going to also color code this to let me know that this was what I did with that red batch of inventory. I transferred it. It was the first thing that I sold on my list. Okay? Now I need to get to 1480. Okay, so I'm at 800 units. Okay, at a total cost of $850. So now I need to figure out how many more units I need to keep selling. I've already sold 800. I need to figure out how much I'm going to keep selling because I know I'm going to be taking out from my next batch of inventory, which is my yellow one for 850. Now in this case, if I sell out all 850, right, that's going to give me more than what I need to sell. So I need to figure out what number or how much I need to sell from this batch of inventory. So I can do my simple math here, saying I have 1480 and I've sold 800 units already. So that means I need to get a total of 680 units to get to my grand total of the 1480. So that means since I'm not going to be taking all 850 units, I need to calculate how much it's going to cost me. How much is it going to cost me to sell 680 units at $2882335? Okay, and I want to round this to the nearest penny, so 2 decimal places. So I get a grand total of $876. And this one came from my yellow batch of inventory. Okay? So I got my grand totals here. So, right, I got a total of 1726 even. Okay? So that should leave me with an ending balance of 2,044 units. Okay? Now, how did I get this number? Well, you could have just taken the total goods available minus the cost of goods sold to get this as well. Or what you could do as well is maybe you should build yourself a little table, because the important thing about having your ending balance on your inventory is it's going to show you what you have left on hand. So for this case, right, I know I have my yellow batch, my green batch, and my blue batch. Now in this case, right, I had 850 units and I sold 680, so I should have a total of 170 units left. And I still have my green batch and I still have my blue batch. Okay, so again, I'm going to copy the information over into this worksheet here. Okay. Okay. And at least I know for a fact that my 400, the green batch, is still intact for $745, and my blue batch is still intact for 1,080. I do need to calculate what this is, right? This is simple. I can take what I started out with, which is this $10.95 dollars, and I can subtract what I actually sold, which is this $876, to give me $219, right? And I'm going to make sure that I color code them, right? This is my yellow batch, and this is my green batch, okay? And the most important thing about creating this table for your ending balances, this is the exact numbers you're going to be copying over into your next inventory worksheet. Exactly these 3 batches of inventory, keeping them separately, because this is the order that FIFO is, right? We're not going to be adding them up together and calling that our beginning inventory. We're going to copy all 3 batches of inventory into a new inventory worksheet, and that's how we start out our beginning inventory, right, for the next worksheet. So now I'm gonna equal sum this, so it's at 1,250 items at a grand total cost of $2,044. So once again, I still end up getting that same exact number, even if I calculated using the cost of goods sold and the goods available. I still end up getting the ending balance to be equal the same. But this one, the importance is that now I get to see how much of my ending balance actually includes. It includes yellow, green, and blue batches, okay? And they are all updated with the correct amounts that they should have. Okay? So now that I reach the end of my accounting period, I need to now adjust out my inventory by completing my conversion entry. Okay, so it's 6:30. Okay, what do I need to include as part of my conversion entry? Well, first thing I recognize is that I have my ending balance of inventory. Now, a rule of thumb here is, do you know the specific item that you purchased? In this case, we do. It's not generic, right? We don't just have inventory. We actually purchased toys, okay? We also have to acknowledge that we also sold some toys along the way, okay? And of course, we also have a purchase expense, right? That's what we've been practicing, our purchase expense. Okay? And we also have our freight expense. Okay? So in this case, let's go ahead and calculate or plug in our numbers here. So my ending balance in my inventory was that $2,044. My total cost of goods sold, right, for selling 1,480 units got me a grand total of $1,726. Okay. My total purchases, okay, was this $3,862.50. And of course, I need to include my separate cost of freight here for $150. Now let's go ahead and do our rule of thumb here, just so we can see what account we are missing. Okay, so in this case, I have $3,770 on the left, opposed to here on the right, I have $4,012.50. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to go ahead and calculate what is 412.50 minus 3,770, and that's going to give me a total of 242.50, which, where did we see this number? It is my purchase returns and allowances. Right? I have to debit my purchase returns and allowances. So remember, right? When I made a grand total of purchases, I purchased 2,950 units. Now, in this case, if I'm taking them out and I'm emptying them out and I'm putting in these separate boxes, right? One for your inventory, one for the cost of goods sold. I also need to put in that I also returned 220 of those items in the purchase returns and allowances. Okay? All right. Awesome. Okay, so that's question 2 to do the conversion entry. And of course, you can finish off your conversion entry, your description here, by saying conversion entry for periodic inventory. Okay? You can say you have a total of 12,500 toys on hand. I sold 1,480 units or toys, and I returned 220 toys. Okay? And that is it for this section here. Okay? All right. So then, once again, when we come back, we will be completing the third question here, right, which is going to be utilizing the same concept, right? We're going to do FIFO, but this time we're going to deal with beginning inventory. So we're going to be taking all this information right here from the ending balance on our inventory worksheet and transferring it over into the new inventory worksheet.